people that not everyone, of course, but some people that are obsessed, but literally obsessed with becoming president of their countries have some sort of mental illness. Like, you know, like. Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. We are the Three Hokages and I'm here once again with Marvin and Anna. Miguel, as you hopefully already know, we have such a big audience so far. That's just a joke, we only have like 2.
Shout out
or
to the
1.
15 people that watched us.
Shout out, please don't leave us or we will be bankrupt. That's just a joke.
There's probably one naked person watching us right now. Shout out to you.
Shout out to you guys.
Watching us from the toilet.
Shout out to the creeps. That's also a joke. But anyways, this is our new format podcast. It's the GOOSE'S Survival Guide. We hope you enjoy the conversation. We touch on different things, friendships, crazy stories like always, and also some interesting, more profound topics maybe that you'll enjoy. So
yes, personal secrets.
Some stuff about, cultural clashes, studying abroad, French people, the lovely French people. Our favorite Frenchman is Marvin, but yeah, hopefully you'll make your own mind after you watch this episode. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
About like Chili's, I think.
Oh my god, yeah, right.
Hi, welcome to Chili's.
Right, so we were at
Chili's.
like Miguel and 2 other friends. and we were like normal, like eating, having dinner, whatever, and then this particular friend, right?
Pepito. That'll be
Pepito. He was very cheap, right? Like extreme, like very stingy, and he wanted to do this rattery of like pretending there was a hair. So he pulled out like a tiny hair because he had really short hair, like, and he had already finished the meal or whatever. And he looked and he was like, "Oh, bro, I think I'm gonna do this, And the other friend, he was like, "Bro, like be for real, like you're not gonna do that." And he calls the waitress, and he's like, "Yeah, I think that there was like a hair in my food," and the waitress just looked at him like.
You already finished your plate. Like, what are you talking about?
And he gave her the look of.
Literally, I remember.
The guilty face.
No, not even the guilty. That face.
But it is a guilty face. Like, it's a dumb face when someone does something extremely stupid. And also, you know that they've done it.
He always did that face. Whenever he did something, he would always pull that dumb face, pretending he didn't know he just did something.
Huh?
I can't.
It's like he admitted that he did it, but he wanted just to make it seem that he didn't. Like I did it, but don't blame me. It's just the way I am. Like I cannot help it. That's what that face communicated. And the worst part is that I think they did bring him a new like plate.
I think that he got
They
something.
brought him new
He got
food?
something out of it because he always got. I remember one time we were. It was me, my dad, my
but
mom.
wait, Anna. That was like a common practice for him. Like it wasn't like an isolated case. Like he did that intentionally multiple times, which was.
And you guys would still hang out with him, and he did that in public.
The thing is that in our high school, honestly, if we're like young criminals, so at this point it's like either you have no friends or you just accept whatever's.
Honestly, your school was like the X-Men. At this point, everyone was weird.
No, but like I remember one time it was me, my mom, my dad, and Pepito, and we were at Chili's, but it was another Chili's.
Again.
And Chili's is like, it was the best restaurant. And and so the thing is that Chili's used to have this thing where they would refill your drink.
Okay.
Only once. So everyone knew, so everyone was like, okay, you order your drink, you prepare, you have the mentality that you're only gonna get one refill, so you keep that in mind. So Pepito drank his drink like an animal, and then he asked for the refill, and then he drank the refill, and then he called the waitress, and he's like, can I get a refill? And the waitress was like, oh, we only have one. And he was like, but before it used to be more than one. Before it used to be like unlimited.
Mm-hmm. Right now it is unlimited, I think.
In the US,
Yeah.
But in my country it became one. I don't know if it's still the case.
Before it was waterboarding.
Welcome to Chili's.
Like you said that, like,
Before it was the
waterboarding.
And so he asked for another one, and then he puts the face, and then the waitress laughs, and she's like, fine, I'll give you one more. He always got
he got his way every single time.
He always got his way, and I'm like, dude, you're such a rat.
This one, what
It's
can
like-
you say to a dude at the table? Yeah. You're just like, oh sure, okay, fine, I'll give it to you.
It's like, Pepito, you killed someone. You know?
Fine, you won't go to prison.
Fine, it's alright, it's okay. Nothing will.
Okay,
Just
we'll
this
bail you out.
once.
We'll bail you out. That's okay.
I can't.
Stop. And so, but it must have been embarrassing being out with
It
him in
was
public when he did
so
that shit.
embarrassing being with him all the time. One time we were, again, my mom, me, him, and my dad. Why was he always with us? It was on my mom, not even on me. And we were in a museum, and we were walking around, and we were in Quito, right? We were not in Guayaquil. We were in Quito. We were on a trip, whatever. And so we went to this museum that I wanted to go to, and we were like, whatever, the tour. And the whole time, during the trip, prior to the trip, everything, he kept mentioning this place to eat rice and beans. And he kept saying how someone from high school had told him it was nice in Quito. And he kept asking, oh, we should go to this place. We should go to this place. And we were like, we don't know where it is. We do not know. And we have never, my dad is from Quito. My dad was like, I have never heard about this thing. And so he kept being annoying. So we were at the museum. We were doing the tour. We were doing the thing, whatever. So at some point, the tour guide asks, do you guys have any questions?
Stop.
And so
He did not ask the tour guide about the rice and beans
And so
place.
Pepito comes and he's like, yeah, I have a question. Do you know where the rice and beans place?
No way, bro.
Yeah, I swear to you, this happened. It was
No
so
way.
embarrassing.
No way.
My dad wanted to die. He was like, what is wrong with you?
And what did the tour guide answer?
He laughed and he was like, no, I don't know.
The funniest thing would have been that the tour guide would have been like, oh yeah, no, this place is right here, right here.
I get-
And then you would have been forced to eat there.
No, the tour guide was like, yeah, like, you know, those are not the type of questions that he was expecting. And I'm like, he would make really embarrassing questions all the time. And I was like, Pepito, shut up, stop asking those kinds of questions.
That's worse than my question.
I was gonna say, it's in the same
yeah.
vein as, do you have to be an otaku to
No,
eat
but this
here?
one's worse because Miguel's had a relation to the place.
True,
this
true.
was completely like, you go to the Louvre and you're like,
Where's McDonald's?
where can I find a kebab?
Can I order a cheeseburger, by the way? Like, you know. And the tour guide would have been like, this is what they pay me for. Like, I hate my job, you know.
I hate my
Most likely.
Can you imagine being a tour guide and you're doing your job and you're happy, you're done with the tour, and you see this kid in the middle of the crowd, you know?
He made that face while asking the question. I was like,
Do
dude.
you know where
The
that
thing
place?
is that the second you saw that face, you knew something was gonna happen. You just saw the face appear and you were like, God damn it, like I'm about to experience the worst second-hand embarrassment in my life.
Oh my god.
It's like he would literally pull a knife out and start like stabbing you slowly with that face, but for some reason you would start laughing, and it's like you wouldn't feel the pain, like you would just start laughing, and later on you'll be like, oh, that was not right. you know Bro, that was insane.
You know what's the worst part? Miguel, it was Miguel, me, and this other friend. We knew him. We actually knew him. But to everyone else, because he was quiet, to everyone else, he was like, oh my God, he's so sweet and quiet. The girls were like, oh, Pepito, he's so sweet. He's so quiet. He's such a nice person. Mind you, I was one of those girls at some point. I was like, oh, he's so sweet, whatever. Then I met him, and I knew who he was, and we all knew who he was. And I remember he was...
This dude had a whole secret identity.
Yeah. He was a rat. And I remember for graduation... Was it graduation or was it during... Because in graduation, you get the valedictorian and all this stuff. I think it was during graduation or something. No, or maybe it was something at some point that he received a diploma for having like really good grades, and we all laughed because we knew. Do you remember? He got a diploma out of nowhere. He didn't deserve it. Like, it was not like something he deserved. And everyone was like, he's such a good boy. Oh my God, he deserves it. And we were like, bro.
But what happened?
We don't know. Just like, basically a bunch of people got diplomas of like having good grades and stuff, and he was the last name to be called. And we were, I think that me and Miguel, we looked at each other like, no way, they literally just called him to get a diploma right now.
Like, not him, right? It's like everyone else getting a random diploma is like whatever every day in your high school, but not him.
The thing is that he was not like stupid, right? He was not like the worst student ever. He wasn't, but he, especially in the later years, like the actual high school years, the final 3 to 4 years,
okay,
he generally was not a good student. So like, we were like, how did you pull this? And he would always do like, yeah, you know, he would do this movement, and he would be like, it's because it's me. It's because
Oh my God, Anna, I don't know how you started remembering all of these things out of the blue, but literally you have them ingrained in your memory like so vividly. It's the best. Like, literally that movement. But Anna, about that diploma, like, do you remember? I feel bad about roasting, but this is anonymous, so I guess it's not really like, it's not really like damaging his reputation. But do you remember the story about his what was it called in English? The extended essay. Do you recall that?
no.
Do you even know the story about the extended essay?
No.
No, bro. Like, like literally, he, for some reason, like, to graduate we had to write this 4,000 word essay, right? Like, and then like a dissertation, like we had a thesis, kind of like a thesis and a dissertation that we, with a presentation in front of the school board, whatever. And for some reason, and they were very strict with plagiarism, I remember. So what Pepito did, of course, was he just downloaded like a random essay from the internet.
Legit?
And he just presented that. So he got flagged.
No modification, anything. He just grabbed the
No.
essay and handed it as is.
Maybe there were some modifications, but the response from his from the school, like, or his essay supervisor was, this is like more than 90% plagiarism, so you have to redo it.
More than
Bro.
90%.
he contacted me multiple times asking me for help. Hey, how do I do this? I cannot do it. This is too hard. And it was like a random topic. Like, you could literally choose the essay, like to write the essay in any subject you wanted. So he contacted me multiple times, and then I remember going over his essay, and I couldn't believe that, people like I understand if you struggle in university, kind of, and okay, even in like IB, like, because we did have like many assignments, but in general, like, high school is not that hard. It's not that hard, really. And he couldn't do it. He wasn't going to graduate because of that whole scam with the plagiarism and his essay. And I'm like, bro, like, get it together, just do it, like, write it yourself. But yeah, like, he wasn't flagged with that only one time. It was like a couple of times, and then he like contacted me multiple times. Hey, can you help me out? And I tried my best to steer him in the right direction, and at the end I think he just got a passing grade on that essay. And also, do you remember the Harvard meme with him? I don't know if you know this.
I know, because I remember one time. The thing is that me, Miguel, and Pepito, and my dad, we suddenly created this tradition of going to the movies. And I remember we went to watch like Marvel movies and stuff, and specifically it became with Fast and Furious.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the one time we went to watch Fast and Furious. I don't know which one, if it was like 6. I think it might have been 6. There was a plane. I remember Miguel and Pepito started joking about how they were gonna like get a plane to prevent Pepito from going to Harvard because he was gonna be such a brilliant mind for our country, and they were gonna send like it was so stupid as hell.
How do you remember these things, bro? Like, oh my god, I didn't even know I remember that. That's crazy. Go ahead, please.
No, but yeah, I remember there was like a whole joke because he said that he was going to go to Harvard, because I remember Pepito was obsessed with going to the US.
Okay.
And he always said, yeah, he actually was the one. Actually, like, there was some truth behind it. Like, he was the one who got me to make an exam that is like, let's call it the SATs, that allowed me to enter my own engineering school, because I had no idea of how to enter a university in my country. I was like, oh, I just go and find out. But I had no idea. And he told me, no, you have to go through this exam before you apply. So we applied together. But his plan was to get such a good grade so that he would get like a scholarship, because the government was giving you a scholarship if you were particularly great to eat whatever, like Ivy League or whatever it is that you wanted, with the condition that you will return to the country eventually. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a good grade, I'm gonna go to Harvard, and I'm gonna like, do this thing, whatever. Well, none of that happened. To the point where I remember that 4 years in, Miguel and I were both studying, we were both doing something, and we would ask Pepito, what are you doing? He's like, I'm gonna start like try to apply to this, and like I'm gonna try to work. I remember one time he told me, I'm gonna work in a hotel. I put in my CV that my skills are Word and Excel, and that I know how to speak in English. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get the job.
Like, you mean in the US, like a hotel in the US?
No, in Ecuador. Like he had applied to like a random job. And I remember at some point he did go to the US to study, but he was back like a month later. I don't know.
We went to the airport.
Exactly. I was gonna say, my mom took him to the airport with his mom, Miguel. We were all there. We were like, oh my god. His mom was crying. His mom was crying, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna go study. Literally a month later, he was back doing his thing.
He was back like 3 months later, and I remember when he was there. And just for some context, he didn't go like to a country where he didn't know anyone at all. He went to his cousin's house with basically live with his aunt, so he had company, and then I remember him messaging me constantly, "Hey Miguel, I really don't know how you did it in Canada all alone, like this is so hard, like I cannot keep up." 2 months later he's back, and then and yeah, like and yeah, that's a whole story on its own. But he was like so obsessed about going abroad, studying abroad, and specifically with Harvard. He was called Mr. Harvard, like by teachers, by the high school teachers, because he wouldn't shut up about Harvard, that he was going to apply to Harvard. And not only that, he like my mom at some point like warned me about him, and this has been true in my experience, that people that not everyone of course, but some people that are obsessed, but literally obsessed with becoming president of their countries, have some sort of mental illness. Like like, but it is honestly like a personality disorder.
He wanted to become president?
He wanted to become president, and he one night convinced my mom. We were having dinner, he came over, sometimes he did, and he started trying to convince my mom why he was the right person that would not his message wasn't even, "I'm going to save Ecuador." His message was, "I need to become president because that way I can, launder funds, kind of like, and get money and steal funds from the people and become rich."
You see, phase 1, collect underpants. Phase 2, phase 3, profit.
And I was there like listening to him, and I let so many things slide with Pepito. Like, that is completely on me. Later on I grew up and learned about mental illnesses more in depth, but literally my mom was like, something is wrong with that guy. Like, he wants to become a president to become rich. And okay, at that point that was like so far-fetched to me, but later I realized many people think like that here, and not only here, in some other countries too, but here it's it's like way worse probably, that they just want to be involved in politics to like become rich. Like, so yeah, he had this thing that he wanted to get all the prestige, all the recognition without putting in the work, and that was like he wasn't going to even move one finger like of effort. And that was like a thing in our high school. I believe there were, let's call him there was another guy called Larito, maybe we could call him Larito. That the robotics guy,
Yeah.
kind of the robotics club guy, and
Spider-Man.
you know,
He was convinced he was Spider-Man.
like he was going to MIT,
Yeah.
but he didn't even pass math in high school math, but he was going to MIT, and there was all this talk about people, going to all these universities, and most of the people that ended up going abroad didn't even graduate, and I didn't even find that out until years later. But most of the people that from our high school that went to study abroad didn't even graduate, so they just started working with their family business or something. But it's crazy that most people say, "Oh yeah, I want to achieve this, I want all it's most about ego, ego boosting,
But the thing is,
but I don't really want to suffer."
what you're saying is true. Like, more than people who are obsessed with one thing have like problems, is people who talk a big talk. Usually when they're like, "I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna become this, I'm gonna go to this place, I'm gonna study abroad, I have this rule in my life that I don't say anything to anyone until it's done, because I'm superstitious and I want to jinx myself. So I will tell once it is done. Like, I've made that mistake way too many times of being like, this year I'm doing this, and then I end up not doing it. And the person is like, oh, but you said you would, and I get mad, but it's my fault. I shouldn't have said anything. Because if you don't say anything, you don't have to report anything to anyone. But people who are constantly bashing you over the head, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna become someone, they usually don't end up being anyone.
Please, Pepito. I remember there was a moment, sad moment in my life, where we would go out every single day with him and his mom. Every single day. And I was like, Mom, I don't want to see Pepito anymore. And we would go out and he would only talk about money and success and becoming rich. And I was like, Pepito, you're not doing anything. Like, you're not studying. You're only going to the gym. And he was like, no, but you know, you just have to have the mentality. I wake up early to like grind.
It's grind season, homie.
The mentality.
And I'm like, grind what? You're not doing anything. Like,
you think you would grow up to become the kind of dude who would follow like alpha male like mantras.
The thing is that he's not misogynistic per se. Like, he doesn't have
but like the grind.
But the
mentality,
grind, the
hustle.
grind mentality, he has it, but he doesn't do it. He pretends.
He has the mentality without actually the hustle.
Without
Like,
actually
he doesn't want to drop one. He doesn't want to sweat.
So
all.
he would make a fortune online pretending to be this dude and like making motivational
But it
videos.
would take effort to do the videos. So he would.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
see
It
it,
would
I
take
see
too much effort. And actually, this is so sad because like there were like very drastic things that happened with him, like kind of, that affected other of my friendships in high school because he was spreading lies about me, and I forgave him more than once, but like at some point I had to cut him off because some people just don't change their patterns of behavior. And I remember this is one of the points where I was like, this dude is sick. Once he failed kind of and came back from the US after like 3 months, he started trying to convince me to drop out of school in Canada because I was here for vacation. And he was like, bro, like, why are you even studying in Canada? Like, why do you even need that? Like, but it was like an obsession. And he said, oh, but why don't you just like get a degree here and try to work with someone from your family, and that would be so much easier for you, and then you wouldn't have to like put any effort at all. And he's like, yeah, like you should really think about it, but if you do like drop out of school in Canada, you shouldn't blame me for it, and please don't tell your family that I gave you this idea. Like it's on you. If you do it, it's on you. And I'm like, this is so twisted, and after that, like, I think I just never spoke to him or something. But
that's true,
yeah,
because
like
I remember I also used to tell him, like, because I was starting to become a software engineer and I didn't like it and stuff, and I was like, no, I want something else. I'm trying to find something out. And he was like, no, but you should become a software engineer and you should like create this and that, and you're gonna become a millionaire by doing that. And I was like, first of all, it's not as easy because you cannot just do an app like this. And he was like, he always told me, you should create the next Facebook. You should be like Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark, are the allegations true that you are secretly a lizard?
And I'm like, first of all,
The next Facebook.
the next Facebook. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm gonna clap my, like, do this and get the next Facebook. And he was like, yeah, you shouldn't quit. And I'm like, Pepito, I am tired. I don't like this. I am just here because I made a bad decision. I want to change. And he was like, no, but this is the one that's gonna make you money. And I'm like, I don't care about the money. And he would like fight me every single day about why being rich is important. And I'm like,
he would fight you over your personal decisions when he wasn't making any decisions whatsoever in his personal life. Like he would be so mad. Why are you dropping out of school? When he gave you the idea in the first place. But he was like, what unemployed. He was unemployed. He
He had
literally
no
just
studies, no anything.
no universities accepted him, because even in the US he went to a community college, like, you know, because he didn't have the grades. But you know, I just started feeling bad. Like, I think the conversation went from just funny stories to like very serious stuff.
Very
But
depressing stuff. But wait, if he didn't make it 3 months in the US and ended up in a community college, where the hell is this diploma coming from?
What
The
diploma?
one from high school for good grades. How?
We don't know what he got the diploma. It was not a diploma for like, oh my god, you have so much good grades, but a certain number of people got a diploma saying you're above average, but like, you know, and somehow he got it, and we were like, how did you pull that? And he was like, you know, trying to be cool. We were like,
it reminds me of something, because you know how in movies sometimes they pretend to give you something to congratulate you, but then it's like low-key a message, and on the diploma it says that you're stupid and you need to follow like an internship or something. In France we have this day that is like it's called call day. It's like you get called to a military base and you spend the day with the military and you learn like what they do, and they try to enroll you. It's like, it's just kind of weird, because back in the day military service was mandatory from the time of my parents, but since I was born, and I think from, I don't even know the date when it was like over, but I would assume 80s 90s if I'm not mistaken, they abolished that. The left said no more military service, we don't need that anymore, it's only people who want to. So the counterpart to this is that everyone from the day they're 18 has like a time frame where you receive a letter in the mail and it's telling you your call day is this day at this place, you miss school, you're allowed to miss school, and you're gonna spend a day with the military. So you go and you meet colonels, lieutenants, soldiers, whatnot. And the crazy thing about this day is that you end up meeting all kinds of people from all ages, ranges from 18 to 25, 26, depending on how long they took to call you. And it's like a bunch of military dudes teaching you shit. Then you eat at the cafeteria. The food is awful. I remember they served like those cardboard fries with like the super dry chicken and all. You eat with the military, and everyone looks at you weird because you're like this 18-year-old kid with a bunch of dudes that have guns, and you're like, they don't really want to be here. And then at the end of the day, I don't know why those things like conjugate themselves, but they make you do a test where you're sitting in class and something is projected on the wall, and it's a bunch of questions, and you have a little remote in your hand with 3 buttons, and you pick the choice that you want, A, B, or C, like multiple choice questions. And they're basic French questions. So they're gonna be like, this word, rabbit, how is it written? With 1 R, 2 B's, 1 R, 1 B, 2 T's, or R, B, B, I, and 1 T. So you choose, and you have like 40 of those questions. So you put them up, Some of them are complicated, but most of them are really simple. And at the end of the day, I remember my brother used to scare me about this, because he used to tell me, at the end of this day, they call the stupid people. So if you're called, you know who you are.
Special Officer Doofy reporting.
And me, the whole day, I was like, no, I don't want to be called with the stupid people. And at the end, they do that. They don't say who is who, like you hand back your remote and everything, and at the end someone with a megaphone in the central like hub of the military base started calling names, and you're like, oh my god. And you see random people from your class standing up and leaving, and you're like, those are the stupid people. And more than the stupid people, those are like the illiterate people that cannot read, people that cannot write. And they call them out, and I don't know what happens to them. Do they murder them? Don't know. Do they ship them off to like work in mines? I don't know. I don't know what happens to them. It's like, it's such a weird thing, because it feels dystopian, you know? You just answered like something on remotes, and then they're like, Miguel, number 32.
It's like, Pepito, come here. Busted.
Come get your diploma.
Come get your, yeah, exactly. It's like, you think it's a good thing, but really, if you have the context, you know it's a bad thing. That's
It
kind of
is.
the story, right? Yeah.
It
So
is
it's
a
like-
bad thing. But to be fair,
Did everyone know that though? Like, or did you knew because of your brothers,
I-
or but does everyone know that?
I don't
like,
know.
beforehand?
I'm not sure. No, they don't tell you. They don't tell you anything.
Oh, okay.
My brother told me, but when things happen, people who stood up seem pretty normal. And it was people that you kind of hung out with the whole day, so you could not really decipher who was who. You just see people standing up and leaving, but they didn't seem particularly alarmed. So I'm like, okay. I'm just imagining someone like Pepito who would have messed up everything on purpose, just for like a laugh. Be like, oh, rabbit, it has 3 C's.
He wouldn't have done it on purpose. He would have actually like
Stop.
made the mistake.
There was a hair on my exam. Like, I deserve a 10, 100 out of 100. You know. Bro, that guy was wild. But yeah.
How in our lives do we have we met those kinds of people? Because they're everywhere. I remember
Yes.
one of the funniest encounters. I don't think I've ever told you this. One year in France when I was 18, I think it was like a little over 10 years ago, I decided to randomly to audition for the equivalent of American Idol, but for France.
Life is life. Ba-la, ba-ba-la.
My friends told me, because I did music, I did theater, they were like, you should do it, you should audition, like, try it out. And me being a stupid 18-year-old, I didn't take it seriously, so I didn't train particularly. I just like picked my song at the last minute, rehearsed for like one night, and I was like, I'm good to go, I win. I was dressed. Let's not even talk about this. It was like a different time. I went there, huge line to the Hilton Hotel. So I'm like, okay, whoa, impressive. Like there's like hundreds of people, and I end up behind a girl that is younger than me. She's probably like 15, 16. She's with her dad, and she starts talking to me, and she's like, oh, are you here for the audition? Which songs did you pick? And we started like getting along, and she's like, I have a blog where I sing, and it's really good. It's been making like a lot of clicks. And I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. Then I realized that she's extremely rich and that her dad pays for her equipment, like state-of-the-art equipment, piano, mic, guitar. I don't even know if she played those instruments. Apparently she sang. So I'm like, okay. So we talk, and she's nice and whatever. And then she drops the bomb that she's about to audition with the Celine Dion song.
Oh my god.
And when you're 15, 16 and you pick that song, you better bring it. And I'm like, oh, ambitious. Okay, sure. Why not? I picked like ballads, which was simple. We reach the thing together, and she passes in front of me. So I'm like, good luck, go for it. 3 minutes later, I see her running outside the door crying. And I'm like, oh, how did it happen? What happened? She was like bawling, red, buffed in the face. And she's like, they told me I sounded like a duck. She starts
Like a dog.
bawling. She's like, I sang and they stopped me. They told me my singing voice sounded like a quack. And I started, I'm stressed. I'm like shitting myself, but I'm hearing this and I cannot, like, I have to hold it in because I'm about to laugh. You cannot not laugh at someone being like, the producers told me I sounded like a duck.
Yeah.
Like, please. So she runs away crying, and she had left me the URL to her blog, and I went to check it a little bit later on, and I was like, they were right. They were right.
No way.
She was extremely flat. Like all the notes, none of them sounded right. And that shit was online, and I'm like, oh no. And she did this in front of producers because I went after her, and I sang my stuff. They didn't stop me, thank God. But I was too stressed. I was too young. I was unprepared, and they told me like it was good, but come back next year when you're more confident, because like you obviously seem to be terrified of what's happening. Because bear in mind, when you audition, you go into this random room, and there's the huge camera that is like this big, like this close from your face. and you have like 3 spotlights. It's extremely like warm and everything, and you're standing up like this, and they're like, sing. And you kind of feel like a circus monkey being like, hey, 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 like in front of a camera, and you start singing, and like 3 people eating candy. I remember they had a box of candy, and like there was a producer like like, and he's looking at you and judging you, and you're like, who are you? Because you know, when you watch TV, you see the judges, you see the famous judges, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna see the judges. No. You see 3 greasy men eating candy, looking at you, being like, sound like a dog, get the fuck out of here. And that's kind of traumatic.
3 sketchy dudes. Like 3 sketchy dudes. Like,
Like, how can imagine a camera person on a TV show, like a random dude that holds the camera? Those were them, 3 of them. They look at you and they kind of like, they barely listen to you. They're just like, okay. And years later, for the anecdote, I had a coworker at a different job that told us that he sang, and we knew he didn't sing. We knew. Like, please, we know you, we know. This dude had like a bunch of stories. He was like a model, he was like a singer. One time he brought his modeling pictures. That was like the funniest thing. And he told us, I was on the French American Idol. I went far, because when you pass the first round of audition, then you see the judges and you pass on TV, and then after you go on TV, you go to Paris to like a huge theater, like a concert room, and you advance in the show, right? Apparently the first year that he did the audition, he passed on the section where all the bad singers go, that they make fun of them.
Oh, God.
And the second year he went to Paris, and I'm like, how from one year to the other can you move up to Paris? And it started racking my brain, because I'm like, is he lying? But apparently he wasn't, because he had pictures and everything. And I'm like, it makes sense, because the show always brings the best people, but they handpick a bunch of the worst ones and then bring them along as well to make the show entertaining.
Fair enough.
And I'm like, that poor man, he probably didn't know. He got brought to Paris to sing, and they all knew he was awful. Because one time we did karaoke with the company, and he started singing. Like, he rapped. Actually, he rapped, he didn't sing. And we were all like,
what was he worse or better than the other girl?
worse. He was worse.
Worse.
Yeah, because
Wow.
the girl, you could see that she was untrained, but I think that she had potential. This
Okay.
dude, I don't
No.
think he had.
No, but you need to understand the kind of person this guy was. Like, I remember Miguel, that's right, Miguel. I remember Marvin showed me this dude's model book. Some pictures were pictures that he took himself with a phone
A mere
in
selfie.
front of a mirror in a bathroom, and he had it like his model.
That was part of his portfolio for
Yeah.
like the show.
No,
Oh.
no, this was his modeling portfolio, and he had like 2 professional pictures, and the rest were selfies that he took in front of a mirror, but like super blurry.
One picture where he came out of the pool. Then a bunch of really close-up pictures from the side. Like, they were awful. Half of them were blurry. He had one campaign that was professionally done. One. And then the rest of them. But you know, old 2000s, like, phone selfies, the ones that really did not
Yes.
look good.
With the flash,
With
with
the
the flash in the mirror.
Yes. Yes. So wait. So he was a model, but he also
He was
Like
not a
sang?
model.
He was not a model.
Like, he got
But-
he got lucky because a brand from the early 2000s. So the fashion that goes with it, right? Like a ripped skinny jeans with like. Have you guys had the tectonic thing in your country? You know, the people that dance with their hands that dress in like neon, fluo,
No.
whatever.
We never had.
Well, we had like a very specific trend in France called tectonic, which was, if you Google it, Miguel, you're gonna quickly realize what's happening. It was like a dance move, but it was people dancing with their hands, doing like this, like that. It was awful. The dude that I knew that was a model, he showed us his portfolio with the selfies and taking it through a mirror with the flash. It was like a whole thing. But he basically, I was telling you the story of how I became a model, because back in the 2000s there was a trend called tectonic, and we sent you examples through the Discord that we're gonna put on the screen. It was that trend. It was a weird fashion of like neon yellow, pink, green, and it was like a hand choreography. It was like a loser shit. It happened like within a year, and then it went away. And this dude that I worked with basically got stuck in that era and looked like this the whole time. But back then, because it was more trendy, there was a brand that was pushing this trend forward that made a roll call throughout France, and they found him. So they got him in an ad campaign with a bunch of other people. So he did participate in an actual ad for clothing, but just one. And starting from that, he had professional pictures done. He had like 6 or 7, and then he completed the portfolio with multiple pictures, shirtless, bathroom mirror selfies, him getting out the shower, blurry pictures of him like this. It was surreal, because he kept bringing his portfolio to work, and he kept wanting to show us, and he was like, look, I brought my portfolio. And we were all like, it was hard not to laugh, because I was flipping through the pages, and he told me, what do you think? Can you give me feedback? What do you think about the pictures? And you could look at them on your own and be like, yeah, and then laugh to yourself, or like just keep it like quiet. But he was next to me, and he was looking at me like, so what do you think? Do you think they're good? How can I improve them? And I was like, no, they're good. They're nice.
This is so nice.
They're so nice. You almost imploded, you know?
I had such a hard time keeping it together, because watching that portfolio is like the funniest thing. And anytime we were kind of mean, because anytime someone new would come in and he would mention it by himself, we were like, oh, you should bring it tomorrow. And he was like, oh yeah, I should, you're right. And he kept bringing it to new people.
That's so mean. That's so mean. Yeah, those are amazing. You should show to everyone here. You should show it to our boss so that you get fired. And I don't have to deal with
He showed it to our boss. Oh my God. And she was like, it's good. It's nice.
It's so nice.
It's good, and now you're fired. But wait, so he wanted to be a model, but he also sang, and he auditioned with like singing for the show.
Yeah.
And was the modeling better? Were the pictures better than his voice, or what was the ranking?
Somehow the modeling was better.
Oh wow!
Because we had karaoke night, and he insisted. Have you guys ever done karaoke with friends?
I have.
Really.
It hasn't happened to you that the worst singer in the room always hogs the mic and refuses to let it go?
Oh yeah, they're so passionate.
Every single time, the worst one. When you have someone that sings good, they don't want to sing. But when someone sings awful, they want to keep the mic like this, and they keep butchering songs, and you're just,
And
please make it stop.
and they spit on the mic too, and then and then they pass it to you. You know, bro. Like they are so disrespectful. It's like, here, your turn.
That's
Your turn, and you're
that's
like,
your nightmare.
yeah.
That's your nightmare. That's like, bro, let me have a sip. Come on, just a sip.
Exactly. We should show that video also.
And we're gonna put it up on screen right now. This dude is gonna appear in every single one of our podcasts.
I don't know why that dude is so funny to me.
You got sip of that, huh? But just a sip. Just a sip. Dog, please. Dog, I'll give it right now, dog.
But no, thank God we all had something to drink that karaoke night, because it was not even with friends, it was between coworkers. So we went into the booth, and everyone was like, I don't want to sing, I don't know what to do. And thank God 2 people started singing, because they were like extroverts, and alcohol started pouring in. And when alcohol starts coming in, inhibitions out the window. So then people start singing, and this dude really felt himself, and he was like, I want to sing right now. And we were like, finally, the moment has come. We finally will hear the singing voice. And it was absolutely awful. We were all, oh my god, that is like, it's good in like it's so bad it's good kind of way. We were like laughing and laughing. The problem is that one song is funny, 2 songs you're like, okay, then 3, 4, 5, and you're like, please let go of the mic, please, I cannot take this anymore. He would pick the worst songs and sing them horribly, so it'd be like the double whammy of like disgusting. So you're just in the corner of the room, you're like, please make it stop, please, no, please, no. And then they keep serving you bullshit food, and you're hungry, and you keep drinking, and
But your
it's like a
appetite,
nightmare.
your appetite disappears because of the bad singing. So it's like a literal torture, like a nightmare.
And you're stuck in like this little room, and you're like, oh, I want to go out, I want to go.
And he starts like posting all his pictures on the walls, like hanging them, and then you're like, oh no, this is a torture chamber.
This is a hostage situation for real.
Bro, do you imagine? That would be horrible. I just thought about it. Maybe we should do some virtual karaoke sometimes.
That would be
That
fun.
would be so much fun. Like, I wanna see.
But honestly,
That would sound so bad.
When we come to you or when you come to us, we should organize karaoke and we should vlog it.
Yes, like I really need to see Anna sing. That should be so much
Oh
fun.
no.
I think you would sing good.
I don't.
Yeah, I've heard you sing before.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have, and not just in my dreams.
That would be so much fun.
Don't look at me like that.
But sorry, Marvin, I interrupted.
No, I'm pretty. I was reminiscing those awful moments, but I'm done with that. I don't think I can beat your weird ass friends though.
But how
I
did?
remember there was a girl.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say how
No.
how did that night end? Like people, did anyone tell him
think-
at any point, hey,
Yeah.
stop or
Stop.
please?
Please no. The thing is that what happened was he was hugging the mic so much that people were being nice to him, and they were like, okay, now maybe like it's time for someone else to sing, like they were trying to be nice about it, and then he kept on going, and we were like, give it up, stop, please stop. And then he was like, but I don't understand, I want to keep doing it. And we were like, we don't.
We
Please,
don't.
no.
Is that a
No.
Is that a Pikachu like water bottle?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Can you show the front?
It has a crazy
It
straw.
doesn't have a front. It's like this.
Oh, it doesn't have like the face. That's so cool.
No.
Yeah, that's so nice.
But yeah, that night, half the people, because we were all of different ages, there were a bunch of people my age, but they were like a bunch of moms. So moms were wine drunk this whole time, and people were like ordering beers, they were ordering like cocktails and whatnot. So we were all kind of drunk, and I know videos were taken of that night. I know that someone somewhere has proof of something. I've never seen those videos, so I don't know where they are. But I know that they have evidence of that stuff. Evidence of him,
Did you sing?
evidence of me.
Oh my god.
There's a lot of stuff going on that I don't know about. And maybe one day those things are gonna resurface.
Someone took a picture of your ear and it was bleeding. Most likely.
Someone took a picture of the room and there's me in the corner like,
Stop!
like I wanna die. It was a whole. The next day I remember coming back to work and someone coming up to me and being like, so how was it? And I was like, it was good, it was fun. And she told me because she had seen the videos. And I'm like, why are you asking me this? We never talk on the daily, so why are you talking to me today? And she's like, oh, you know, like, and she had seen the video of me singing, and I'm like, okay, sure. Anyway, it's a little embarrassing because I don't like being taken on video without knowing, but I mean, it is what it is. Like at night, it was like, I think it was a Snapchat video. Probably that person doesn't have them anymore. I don't know. I haven't seen them in years, so I could not tell you. But it was fun. The moment that I sang, they were fun. I do enjoy karaoke a lot. Having done music for like a bunch of years and having sang for a long time, I actually really like it. And the problem is that when you tell people that you have sang at some point in your life, they're all like,
gonna make you
ooh, sing.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to sing because I didn't like my coworkers. So I was in the karaoke. I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm just here for the free food. And then eventually they were like, go ahead, sing. And we sang a duet with a girl that, like a random mom at my work. And it was fun, but it's like a one-time thing, you know? It's like, if I'm not with my friends, not doing it. Not worth it.
You went viral in your office for one day.
I kind of did, because people were unbearable. They were like, oh yeah, go ahead, sing us something. And I'm not gonna sing in the middle of a workplace. I'm not gonna do that. No. Like if you tell me, oh, I like meat, cut a steak right now in front of me. Go ahead, cut a steak.
You gotta cut it. Oops. Oh shit.
It's like, what do you mean?
Eat it. Like, eat it right now. I want to
Eat it. Eat it raw. And just, oh, you like meat? You don't need to cook it. Eat it raw right now. And like, and I was just like, no, I'm not gonna sing right now. What are you talking about? And then during the night, like, I remember that they made people sing. They made everyone sing. At some point, everyone had their turn, and I was one of the first ones after alcohol started pouring in. So the two people that were extroverts, they sang like 1-2 songs. Then I went, and I remember a manager that I really did not like and that did not like me. She was like, I finished my song and she was like, okay, well, way to go to ruin it for everyone. And I was like,
What?
because they all sang bad and I actually like put in an effort and I actually
I
sang
thought that
good.
she meant that you sent awful.
No, like I sang good because she wanted me to sing bad. Like she thought that I was full of shit, that saying that I did musical theater, and she was like, sure. And then I actually sang good and she was like, way to ruin it for everyone.
That's
And
so
I'm like,
bitter.
Can you be more
That sounds
Can
like
you
a
be more
very-
bitter? Yeah.
Sounds like a very French like way to answer.
my people?
I saw a reel the other day. Probably you're affecting my algorithm, Marvin, because you know, like French stuff keeps popping up. I do follow some French accounts because of the time I learned French, but this one was like, you know, people, you know, how people in France react when you speak French and you're a foreigner.
Bonjour, je voudrais la ducelle de...
What are you doing? You stupid Englishman. That is not how we speak.
It's like, you know, they would say, you know, hello in French or whatever, and they refuse to acknowledge that you had said the word, and they're like, what? You know, you know, what?
I have
like constantly.
It is real because
It's
Anna
real.
has first-hand experience with that.
It's real.
But I will not defend my people because, truth be told, kind of don't care. But I have experienced that when, I don't know if it's specific to the French language, it might be. But sometimes when Anna is pronouncing a word in French to me and I don't understand it, so I'll be like, oh, what did you say? Like, I'm going to ask you to repeat it. But it's not that I'm doing it on purpose, and it's not that I'm like, it's just, I don't exactly know the reason. Maybe French has so many rules of pronunciation, of sounds, of like, that when it's slightly off, your brain kind of doesn't really decipher what the word means. Maybe because it's overly complicated for no reason, because it is. It's a hell of a language. But I have been in this situation where people try to speak to me in French, and because I'm not expecting the accent, I'm just very thrown off. And then when I rewire my brain to understand, then I'm like, okay, you're telling me this. Okay, sure. This is that. And I have to assume that it's like this for most people, but I don't know. And it seems to be common. I've seen so many reels of being like, hi, I would like this pastry. What? It's like, I would like this. And even me as a French person, I'm understanding what the person is saying. Even without the subtitles, I'm like, oh, they want this pastry. Makes sense. And then people are like, huh? What? Huh?
But
and French people are like this.
They are like
But then, if you speak in English, they tell you, I don't speak English, speak in French, but then you speak in French. And they're like, what?
We genuinely are the only country, probably in the fucking world, where if someone comes into you, tries to speak French, the person's gonna be like, ugh. And it's like, if I went to any other country and I tried to speak their language, they would be like, oh, that's so cool, you're trying to speak our language. Like, Anna keeps telling me that when I go to Ecuador, if I try to speak Spanish, people are gonna be like nice about it, encouraging. They're gonna be like, oh, you're trying to speak our language, that's super cool.
Find it adorable.
In our case, if you don't pronounce it perfectly like a native, it's like, ugh.
They'll spit in your face.
You know what? Like, and then because I saw the turntables, so there were two French girls being interviewed, and they were like, if you go to France, you need to speak French.
If you go to
because
France, you have to speak French.
Exactly, with that accent. It's like, if you go to France, you need to speak French. And then the dude is like, but when you go to Italy, do you speak Italian to them? And then the girls were like,
no.
It's not the same. And like, but it is.
But it is.
If you're expecting people, okay, confession time. We were at Disneyland Paris once. We've been multiple times, but at one point we were like stressed and like a lot of things were happening. We went through security, and Anna forgot her backpack at security. She left it on the little mill, you know, like the X-ray thing.
Her pencil case with the tuna sandwich.
The pencil case with the tuna sandwich. It caused a bomb alert in Disneyland. It was like, it was the Doritos, turns out. So we walk into Disney Village past the security.
Okay.
5 minutes in, we realize that Anna doesn't have her backpack because we're trying to take a picture in front of a restaurant, and I'm like, you don't have your backpack? Holy shit, you don't have your backpack.
You touched
so no, I'm like, we take a picture backpack. And because yeah, legit.
Feel it, bro.
Because I put my backpack on the floor and I don't see hers, and I look and I'm like, fuck, you don't have your backpack.
But you actually had to touch
like,
her to confirm that it wasn't there. Like, to make sure.
The thing is that I actually did, because she was in front of me, so I went to check if there was anything.
Okay, I see.
And like, I'm like, fuck, you don't have your backpack. So I start running towards security, and I like run. And Anna did not want to run, so she just walked and she made me there. So I run like as fast as I can to make sure that it wasn't stolen, because all her shit is in there. And I go to the security stand and I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry. We just passed like 5 minutes ago. I think we forgot a backpack. My wife was here. Have you had any backpack? And dude was like, in French, we have this exchange in French. And he's like, yeah, we found a backpack. Like, but are you the owner? Can you tell me what's in there? And I'm like, no, it belongs to my wife, but we can wait for her to come and she can tell you, like, no problem. Because, of course, I understand the security measure. If it's not my backpack, I'm not going to steal it. But I'm like, sure, the person's going to come here and tell you what's in there. So Anna comes very quickly. And bear in mind, we're in Disneyland, the most touristic place on earth. And I tell the dude, my wife doesn't speak French. She speaks Spanish and English, which is already one more language than most people. And it's like, dude, you're working in Disneyland, security in Disneyland. How many Americans are here right now? How many tourists? How many whatever? He talks to her in broken English, which is fine, whatever. But he asks her, what's in there? oh, a brush, like a
I remember it was
clothes,
like a brush, clothes,
a
and
charger,
deodorant.
deodorant,
Those
whatever.
random stuff.
Tuna sandwich.
So the dude, the tuna sandwich, Doritos,
sorry.
a diploma for good grades,
What's that?
a diploma for good
Oh,
grades,
yeah.
and a hair in your chili, and like, so she tells him, yeah, I have my clothes, I have my brush, my charger, whatever. And then the dude turns to me, looks at me, and he's like, that's your wife? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, she should probably learn French. And
No
I'm
way.
like,
No way, bro.
In Disney, the
In-
happiest place on earth.
in Disneyland, right in front of my salad,
Are you serious?
Not what it looks
Right in front of my salad?
you're gonna do this? Like, dude, you're working at the one place in France that has the most tourists per square meter in the entire country.
Yeah.
And you're gonna
it's,
tell
it's
me,
like it's Disney, please. It's like,
yeah, you're gonna tell me, it's like if I went to fucking New York City and they were like, you don't speak French?
Hey guys, I'm in New York City just hanging out.
Like, did you understand her? Yeah. Did she understand you? Yeah. Is there any problem? No. Just go on with your day. But French people have this like need, this
to
inner
say
like
that you need to learn French.
it like tightens their shriveled little heart, and they're like, you need to learn French.
Si nous voulons être civilisés, par exemple, regardez cet individu qui est là.
And they have to. My family has said that. People have said that. Everyone keeps saying it. But I swear to God that if my family went to the US, they would not speak a word of English because they don't know how to speak that language. And if they came there, I don't know what they would expect. I don't even know how tourists go around. I
That would
don't
be
know.
really funny.
Like my stepdad, yeah, he would probably try to go around with French in the US, and that would be like the funniest thing in the world. But how can you be so entitled that you think that every country that you go to has to speak your language?
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's like,
But that's like crazy first world stuff because, for example, in my country, because we know we're a third world country and whatnot, and that Spanish is not the most relevant. I mean, well,
it kind of is.
Considering the chunk of America that it takes, yes. But for us, it's like, oh, you know, Spanish is only good for Spain. So we know the English, and because we've been brainwashed to adore the US, like, we know that English is the one to go wherever you are. So we are always, all of us, we're like, yeah, we need English. We don't assume that if we go to whatever country, we can just speak Spanish and stuff.
Fair enough.
But I find it crazy that here people are like, oh, you need to know my language. And I'm like, but your language is like irrelevant. Like, I'm so sorry. But like,
It's not that it's irrelevant, but it's like, the thing that I don't understand is that when you live in France, does it make life easier for you to know French?
I mean, of
Absolutely.
course, of course.
But that's for you. As long as you can go around, make yourself understandable and understand other people, it only matters to you what happens to yourself, right? But there's this whole nationalist kind of conservative kind of way of thinking that is like, if you live here, you need to speak the language. How many people live in the US right now that don't speak a word of English? A lot of them.
Right. Yes.
It's not that
That's
it's
true.
it is nicer and it is better for you to, because of course if you want to make friends you need to know the language. Like if I lived in like, I don't know, Germany right now, I would learn German because I need to learn the language to be able to insert myself in society.
Yes.
But if you don't and you still manage to make a living, then it's fine. It's fine. It's not the end of the world.
but to me, my problem is not someone living here, because I know that I do need to learn French, because it's like, you know, for how you call it, administrative stuff, and because I live here, I do need to learn the language, and that's like on me. But as a tourist,
Yeah.
like that's where I have my problem. Is like, it's like, bro,
No,
like-
but you don't understand. To spend 2 weeks in France, you have to take 2 years in French class first. Then you can cross the border.
Yeah.
for real, like, imagine going to Japan and they're like, oh, you need to be proficient in Japanese before you even set foot in here.
貴様てめえぶち殺してやるからななんだと
That's insane. That's insane. Like, Just travel, do whatever you want. And in my experience, French people are bitter about everyone, but they're particularly bitter about British people because for some reason they don't like them, and they love to talk smack about American tourists. They love saying Americans are loud, Americans are rude, Americans are this and that.
Hey bro, I'm in America and I love chickens and waffles.
I have never met nicer people than American people. Every time I've had
hot take.
That's a hot
take.
Every time I have met a tourist in France that was American, they were the sweetest people.
Yeah.
Every time I have met a French person in France, they have not been the sweetest people.
So all your life, basically.
No, but it's crazy. One of my mom's friends used to live in Argentina. When she came back to France, she felt extremely depressed for one reason, that people did not smile anywhere. Here in France, it's very common to just not make eye contact with anyone on the streets. People that you don't know, right? People that you know is different. But there is more of a distance until you've known the person, you're not familiar with them. There's not going to be a little chummy little exchange with people that own the store. There's not going to be any of that. It's more of it's a colder culture. When you go to the bus, you don't speak to anyone because the only people that speak to you are the crazy crackheads of the bus, and you don't want to talk to them. So in the US, I was like thrown off because I would go into a Walmart and someone would suddenly be like, "Oh, that's a really nice jacket you have." And I would be like, "What?" Like, what? And I was like really taken aback because I was like, "Okay, did you speak to me?" Like,
would you like to sample our new scent?
No, fuck off. Can't be sidetracked with cheap sex potions.
it never happens in France. It never does. So it's just like, it's strange. It's a strange feeling to have people actually come on to you and be nice when yeah, in France it doesn't happen. Nobody talks to you. And if someone talks to you, red flags should go into your head being like, what does that person want from me?
I think we had talked about this before, and I mentioned that Canada was kind of similar. But before I mention that, I wanted to ask something about that story in the Disney park. So just to clear that up, the security guy said that comment after he had already handed Anna her backpack.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
the whole exchange was done. He understood what she said, and when he didn't translate, so everything was fine. But he looked at me. He didn't not even talk to her, because if he had said this to her in a nice way, being like, not even in a nice way, but it would have been better if he told her like, no, it would have been equally as worse if he told her you should learn French.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. Je porte lunettes soleil.
But he talked to me like through her indirectly, and he was like, "Oh, your girl, like, she needs to learn French." And I'm like, it is very typical of French mentality of whoever's in here needs to be like us. If you're not like us, go back home. And it's very much what everyone's thinking without actively saying it like that, but you kind of understand what it means. It's like, if you don't integrate, it's all about integration. It's like, oh, they need to be a seamless French person, they need to not talk to anyone, they need to be rude, they need to be cold, they need to be dead inside. And it's like, oh.
And you know what? What is so sad is that some people that go live to other countries kind of fall into this trap of like becoming like that, because they so badly want to fit in that they end up, like dying inside.
I brought you some flowers.
For me? How sweet.
Like, I saw that when I was in Canada, many people were obsessed with, my accent shouldn't be noticed like in the slightest way possible, and they were like, I'm like, bro, your whole culture, everything you eat, everything you talk about is about your country, but here you are bragging about how people are telling you, oh yeah, oh, you were born in another country, but how come do you speak so, fluently? And then they start becoming, meaner, kind of. And
but it is flattering. I cannot even lie when I go to the US and someone is complimenting me about my English, which is not perfect by any means, but it's like, it's nice, you feel good about yourself, because I also want to be seamless. I want to go there and them telling me, oh, you're from France, I wouldn't have noticed.
Right.
But people wouldn't notice because French people they speak like this, and they have the accent, and it's awful.
Win the yes needs a no to win. Again the no.
And it's like,
that accent is like,
It's
how
for
you were
nightmares.
saying that his ears were like bleeding after the karaoke with his
yeah.
When I hear that accent, my ears start like popping, they start bleeding like.
But like, you're right, Miguel. I have a friend from Colombia who's been living in France for a long time, and she told me she's so Frenchicized now that when she comes back to Colombia, people call her Frenchie, because it's like she's French to them now, because she changed the way she acts, the way she interacts with people, and when she comes back home, it's hard for her to pick up the things that she used to do because she's been changed so much.
Yes.
And
See, that's what's wonderful about me. I'm awkward everywhere.
That's true.
So I'm
But
the same everywhere.
My friend told me literally, and if it kind of broke my heart, because I'm like, that's super sad. She told me, I don't feel like I have a home anymore, because people in Colombia say that I'm French, and people in France say that I'm Colombian. So it's like, where do I belong? And she always feels like Colombia is her home, but at the same time, she made a living here. She's feeling good here. She likes the country. But of course, Colombia is always going to be in her heart. But at the end of the day, being in the middle of two countries is really difficult. And you shouldn't have to be a picture perfect person and having the accent and having the life and having the language and having the everything. As long as you feel good, as you have a good life, people should mind their business, and that's the bottom line.
But that's what's sad, kind of, is that when I had my first year of school, there were a bunch of internationals, right? And the internationals did not speak French. None of them spoke French because the school was in English. And
in English with the accent that made you bleed.
Exactly. It was in English.
The school was in English.
English. Oh my god, this is cool. No.
The school.
And so I became friends with the international. Literally, all the internationals were friends. We were friends with them, and we could not, for the life of us, become friends with the French ones. Like, even I'm not a social person, so I'm like, whatever. I can hardly make friends anyway. But I had friends who were sociable, and they tried to make friends, but because they were not French, they didn't have the same, like, how do you say, culture? I don't know, like
background,
background, behavior.
I think, yeah.
They were just like ignoring them. Granted, there was like one French girl that I made friends with because she was like completely open to anyone. She was actually really friendly. But everyone else was like, you talk to them and they were like, yeah, you know, and they would just go back to speaking just French within them. And all the internationals, we were like, okay, like, you know, because all the internationals, we spoke in English because, hell, I have a friend from China. Like, I don't speak Chinese. My friend from Brazil, I don't speak Portuguese.
Thailand.
What?
Thailand.
I don't speak Thai. Then there was a girl who her first language was English, and so on and so forth. And it's like,
but it's French people work in cliques, right? They stay within each other.
Literally cliques.
But something that people have to understand, if we have like an international audience, if we have an audience at all, to be honest, the two people that are watching this right now, if you're English speaking, hopefully you're not French, and I'm not offending you, but
I already offended every
We
French
already
person.
offended every French person that hasn't even watched this video.
For our ghost
But
audience.
For Macron.
the only person that was
straight away we hit the top of the pyramid. But no, there's this one thing that I told Anna before, and that I need people to understand with French people, is that our language courses suck so bad, they're so awful, that no one in France that just follows the school curriculum is able to speak a different language than French. It's impossible. We have two languages, something that we call LV1, which is the main language, and LV2, which is a langue vivante, so it's like a language 1, language 2. Usually language 1 is English, and the other one is like Italian, German, Spanish, whatever you choose. But even the English one, which is supposed to be the major, sucks. Nobody speaks English. We learn about the fruits, the vegetables, and the hours for like 3 years. We don't learn anything. But whenever someone is good at English, for one reason or another, maybe they have a parent that comes from an English-speaking country, maybe the parents give them like private lessons. For whatever reason, someone is good or has a tiny bit of a good accent, they are shamed by other people in the class. Like, when you're good, specifically in languages, not other things like math, French, science, whatever, this is a whole different ballpark. But if you're good at a language and you have an accent that is semi-decent, and you decide to raise your hand and be like, sir, the answer is this, people are going to be like, ooh, look at him trying to brag.
Wow.
So you don't do it anymore. And you feel ashamed because you're like, I do want to fit in, and I don't want to be like the, ooh, look at him bragging about his accent. So nobody's making an effort anymore. And you have people speaking like this their entire lives. And it's like, oh, please, it's not shameful. To this day, when I'm at work and I have Anna on the phone, someone, somewhere, will be at my work and be like, oh, look at him, American boy. I'm just like, you're 42. You're 42, you have children. How can you be like this? How can you be like, what?
It's like never growing
Next time
up.
you're gonna speak French and I'm gonna be like, ooh, look at him speaking French. It's
See, that's the difference between our cultures, because at least in my school, I don't know specifically if my entire city was like this, but in our school, if you could sound like American, everyone would be like, oh my god, like people would be like, you know, the Starbucks, and like I went to like, you know, and they would pronounce it like perfectly. Some people were like, my English accent is like perfect,
and they would
like,
sometimes even over pronounce it to sound like not even American sound like that. They wanted to sound like even more American than the Americans. Like,
hello, I would like one cheeseburger, please.
I want cheeseburger, please.
and this was like a pride statement. So if you somehow sounded like an actual American, people would be like,
but that's crazy how opposites they are, because for us it's inner shame, and
because we've been brainwashed. That's the only reason.
Yeah,
why.
because I'm pretty sure that people act the way they do in France because nobody's good at languages, and it's like the inner shame of sucking at something, so you don't want someone else to be good, because if someone is good, that makes you realize that you're even worse than you thought you were. I think that's where it comes from. I think that's the dynamic here, that since everyone sucks, everyone needs to keep sucking for everyone to be at a baseline.
If I go down, I'm taking you with me.
But when someone is good, they're trying to bring him down, and that's like a big problem. And that's why nobody speaks any languages in France.
you know what? I actually met a Frenchman a few months ago playing basketball, and he worked here at, excuse my pronunciation, but l'Alliance Française.
Non, rien de rien.
Did I say it right?
Perfect. It's actually perfect.
Here, and he was like the librarian there, and he actually played, like, he was like very tall. He played like very well, and he was super friendly. He even said that his parents were coming here to visit him, which I found like really particular, because I don't know, you don't hear that often. Like you move abroad and then at least here I don't meet that many people that move here and then the whole family comes to visit. So it was cool, and he was like a probably one of the different, I guess, honestly. Maybe Anna also knows what I mean with this. The language teachers that come here, they're way more open-minded because they want to come here and stay here. And Anna, do you remember in 9th grade we had these like English, actually they were English from England teachers that we were always make fun of them because they would go party all the weekends at Montañita, the party like city here in Ecuador. And the teachers at this French language school are also like that. But I don't know, this guy was super cool. Some others are not as welcoming, or but yeah, I guess it does depend, because at the end of the day you exist, Marvin, right? So, and you're married to
I
like an Ecuadorian, so yeah,
I think that
depends.
Life, the path that you choose in life also changes your personality, because if someone's willing to travel halfway across the world to teach language in like a different country, it already requires a certain open-mindedness. You need to be a certain kind of person, because a bitter old French person would not cross the Atlantic to go to Ecuador, you know?
Yes,
It's
exactly.
like they need to fit in, even though there is someone that I know around me that is like an old bitter woman that apparently has lived 1 year in Mexico.
Wazowski, no ordenaste tu papeleo anoche.
And I don't know how. I do not know how that woman interacted with anyone. I'll mention her at some point because Anna knows the story. I heard her speak Spanish. It was horrendous. So I don't know. She prides herself in being bilingual, and I'm like, sure, okay.
Where did you meet her?
But
at my work.
Oh, your work.
But
okay.
that's like, for example, I had like how do you call it? Well, it was an administration person in my school here in France, and she told me that she had gone to Mexico to live for like 2 years because she had a Mexican boyfriend. And she told me that when she went to Mexico, she was like completely caught like off guard, because when she went to visit his family, everyone received her with a hug and stuff, and apparently she got scared, and she was telling me the story, and I was like, you got scared because they hug you? And she was like, yeah, you know, they were so welcoming, and like, I don't know, they were so touchy,
You know,
but like
kindness,
yeah. And I'm like, oh my god,
warm, being humanity.
I was like, what do you mean, bro?
Wow.
But and I never forget about the story about how she was weirded out about them hugging her. And I guess seeing now this culture, I'm like, you don't touch each other, because I remember I had a girl in my class from Venezuela, and she's like, she hugs and stuff. She's not weird or anything, but she's like, you know, just like us. Like if you have a friend, you hug them and stuff. It's like super normal. And I remember that the people in the class found her strange because she was touchy. Like she would hug you, or she would approach you, and she even asked for their numbers, not for anything weird. She was like, oh, can you give me your WhatsApp just to like have you like as a contact? But for them, it was like, oh my god, she's asking for my number.
She's
what's
hitting
happening?
on me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's so weird, because it's just like a joke that I always tell Marvin, that it's like men here, when they kiss you, they think that you're already their girlfriend.
Can I kiss you?
Sure. And I'm like, that in Latin America, that doesn't exist. Like, you know, impossible. Like, imagine if someone in our country kissed once and they were like, oh, that means that we're already together. That's literally not how
You're saying this, and I'm still like, yeah, makes perfect sense.
No.
But wait,
That's
you
because
are
we
talking
don't-
about kissing in the mouth, not like when you kiss
Yeah.
when you meet someone.
no.
And, yeah. Do you do
No, kissing on the
the
mouth.
cheek kiss in?
Yeah.
You, only one or two cheeks?
Two.
Two. Okay.
Two, which caught me off guard because when I met Anna's family, they all do one, and I was just like, where's the other one?
Where's the second?
You got a
It was
contraction
really-
on your.
It was really weird. I was like, it feels incomplete, you know? I'm like bothered.
For me, to this day, it's still weird to do two because I'm used to one. So the
Yeah.
second one always like
Fair
drives
enough.
me crazy.
I always choose the wrong side too.
Me too. I always choose it because I don't know what's the correct side, and I'm like,
I have had multiple moments with men where we turn on the same side, and it's like,
Whoa, this is great. Sorry, did I bump?
it's like a little homoerotic moment, and just like for a split second, I change sexuality.
Yeah, I watch men.
Good. Nice.
But yeah, the two kisses. But no, it's true because we don't.
I'm sorry, Marvin. Sometimes you say stuff that really cracks me up.
The thing is that because we're so not overly affectionate like that with people that we don't know, when usually, right, in most cases, if you date someone and it goes to the stage where it becomes more physical and you actually kiss the person, it's implicitly, it's a known thing, unless you're a dog or rat, that it means I'm interested in you and I want to pursue a relationship with you, because otherwise I would not be kissing you. It's like more of a serious deal than it might be in your culture, because like we're not used to that. It's like a huge step to us. So that means if I kiss you, I'm serious about you. But I quickly realized that in Latin America things are not like this, and I'm like, how many people do you go around kissing? And then you're like, no, I'm single.
it's not a matter
That's
of
weird.
kissing. It's because I told Marvin that we are used to asking the question, like you know, when you ask someone, oh, do you want to be my girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. We are used to that. Like everyone asks. Like you don't just appear one day and be like and just assume this person is your girlfriend, boyfriend. It does not happen. And here people assume, and I'm like, that's so crazy. Like the lack of affection is like you do this, and they're like, oh, and you're the partner. You know?
But wait.
I mean, it's not really assuming, as long as the code is that there is no physical intimacy between two people unless they're in a relationship.
Yes, but it's I had a friend who.
Yeah, but she was dating dogs, you know.
No, she
the Colombian?
One
Are you
night.
talking about the Colombian?
No, she's French. She's
Okay.
French, and she started dating a French dude. They talked, haha, hee hee. They kissed one night. They were boyfriend girlfriend the next day. 2 months later, she's crying because they broke up because he never loved her.
Because he was a dog. You know that.
He was not though.
He literally got with her to sleep with her because he desired her but didn't love her.
That's not how it started. That's not how it started. No, that's not how it started. The thing is
From
that
him.
The thing is that I'm pretty sure he just wanted like a whatever relationship. Yeah, it was not great, but she thought
he wanted to get his noodle wet. That's all that it meant.
Probably.
Yeah.
But she thought that it was a legit relationship, and I was like, girl, did he ever did he ask you the question? Did he ever made it clear? And she was like, no, but we kissed, so we're in a relationship.
No, but that was also like being naive, because we ask the questions when we're younger kids. That's like a kid's thing to us. That's culturally that's like a kid's thing.
Questions are
so
a
when
big
we
deal.
grow older, it's like usually a kiss means something, but you usually have a conversation being like, so what are we? And then it's like,
correct.
But we don't ask the question right away. Be like, do you want to be my girlfriend? Do you want to be my boyfriend? Because that's kind of cringe to us.
See, that's a problem with French people. Everything is cringe, and because everything is cringe, they act the way they.
No, it's two separate issues. Those two are true, but not mutually exclusive. It's like we do make it clear eventually.
I do understand your point, Marvin. I think I do understand your point, and I actually also understand Anna's points, but that thing I do think it's a bit weird. I don't know. Wait, I don't know if it's only a Latin American thing, but I personally think it's disgusting. Like I don't think it's cool. But yeah, many people here like just make out and like but with no commitment, and they might even make out with multiple people like in one night.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
And then they're like offended if you think that meant anything. So I think it's like two extremes,
It is.
And
It
wait,
is true.
So, but I'm surprised because generally more developed countries are even worse in this sense. Because me being in Canada, like, well, yeah, I guess people never. I do understand your point because people in Canada are so cold and they don't show affection at all. But at the same time, like there's this culture of I don't
Parties
know,
and hookups.
hookup cultures. Yeah, and it doesn't mean anything. So I'm surprised that in France it's not like that. Maybe it's your take. But
there is also the hookup culture. I cannot lie, it exists. Look at the example that Anna gave. Like this dude just wanted to get his like groove on, so of course. So you can never know. And I always told her, I do appreciate the existence of the question because it makes things clear, and I like that. It's a good thing. It's just that objectively speaking, culturally in France, that's not a thing. You do not ask the question because that's
so sad.
That's very stuck to a childlike mind of being like, do you want to be my girlfriend? That's like what you write on a paper with two little squares to tick,
Right.
However, we do have conversation which is obvious because you need to make things clear.
That's so sad. In Latin America, I'm not talking that people are hoes or whatever, but what I'm saying is like
but they are.
I'm not saying people are hoes.
No, what I meant to say is that we have this culture of there's still a certain level of romanticism where, let's say you have been like flirting with each other for a while, going on dates. You're exclusive. You're not kissing 10 people. You're exclusive
in one night.
But
yeah,
in one night. But eventually, the guy usually takes you to like a nice place or like a dinner or.
Bonne chance. Oh. Okay.
Or prepare something, and it's like a how you call it, like a very intimate thing, and he's like, oh, would you like to like, I don't know, formalize
make it
things,
formal,
be my
make it
girlfriend.
formal.
But that also happens here. It's not everything is implicit because when you're a little bit mature enough, which your friend wasn't, and neither was the dude.
I mean, no.
None of them were. But usually in adult relationships, there's always a moment where someone needs clarity, someone needs stability. So it's like, okay, we've been seeing each other for a while. Are we exclusive? Yes, no.
What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
Sure, we are. Then, are we in a relationship? Yeah. But it's more of, we need clarity. We need something that is like set in stone. What are we? That usually comes in adult relationships, but because there is hookup culture, you did mention it, Miguel, but it does exist here. Like a lot of people are like this, so it contradicts the thing that when I kiss someone, it implicitly means. The only thing that differentiates is the way you meet. If you meet someone at a party and you kiss them, doesn't mean anything. You meet someone at a club and you kiss them, does not mean anything. But if you meet a person and you go on dates, and then eventually after a couple dates, or just one, you give a kiss, that means that at least you two are interested. And the norm, quote unquote, would be to be in a monogamous relationship. So everything's pretty clear from then on. But then you always have the one person that's going to be like deceiving. It's going to be, no, I don't want to have that, but you know, I keep that girl on the hook because whatever. But in normal, the majority of the cases, it's just if something physical or something intimate happens between us, it means something.
Right.
Like if I go on the wrong side of the two kisses and I have the moment with a man, does that mean that I'm in a relationship with him? Does that mean that I'm exclusive?
You might be. You might be.
Yeah, I might be.
You might be.
I have relationships with women and sex with men.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
Because we shared an intimate moment.
You shared the moment. You know what?
I did.
I do like maybe it's my culture also, so I do understand Anna's side. I'm not the most proficient in relationships, but I do think that moment helps also for like asking the question for like having anniversary. Like if you were to celebrate a date, then you already have that.
Exactly.
So it's
a date, an anniversary
which we
that
have,
actually matters.
Which we have.
And you know, that's why people do it, to make it formal and official. And I guess I do appreciate that, although I'm not really like all for relationships. Maybe it's just my culture, but at the same time, I do get your point, Marvin. And actually, I would say, you know, people are like, every culture is so different and so weird when it comes to this things that I remember once. There was this girl in Canada that I couldn't help but notice that she didn't make eye contact when she spoke with people, like, but not like zero eye contact, you know, all the time. So one day I was like, hey, like, why don't you look people in the eye when you talk to them?
Do you have to be an otaku to make eye contact?
And she was like, oh, what? I hadn't even noticed. And I'm like, well, it's super noticeable. At least I noticed.
I love that you come to people and you ask them weird questions.
Ever gone mountain biking? What do you want to be when you grow up? What's the right tip? Have you called a plumber to your home lately? How superstitious are you? How much money would it take to make you spend a night in a cemetery?
Like Miguel coming up to someone and be like, why are you weird? I'm genuinely asking, why are you weird? And like the girl was like, I don't know, I never noticed. Well, I have.
It's very
so
clear.
has everyone else.
Bro, I think I'm autistic. Like, that's the only explanation. Like, honestly. but the thing is, this girl, like later, like gave me a more elaborated answer, and she told me, and I was like, okay, but try. I said, okay, but just try it. Like, look me in the eyes. And she was like, no, like,
Did if I be normal.
And she said, wait, like if I do that, like it will feel weird. Like if I look in your eyes too long, I will start wondering, what are we? And I'm like, bro, what the hell? Like, are you talking about like 10 seconds and you start wondering, what are we? And I'm like, bro, like,
Did you have a moment?
I didn't, but apparently she did. So yeah. But yeah, that she was from Eastern Europe, but also I realized that I got along so well with Eastern Europeans, but I think it was something more about. This was something specific to her, because other Eastern Europeans were also very warm. Like we also were laughing like super loudly. We had a good time, but she was extremely shy. We got along great, but yeah, like that thing did throw me off a little bit. And I do have like a funny story about these cultural clashes. I remember this girl, we had like a mentor my first semester in Canada. She was also a student, but like she was senior or junior, I don't remember. She was older than us in any case. And then she showed us around, and she was there for any questions like that we had about, specifically for the international students. So she invited us over to have dinner at her place a couple of times. And I remember once I was at the mall, and then I took the bus to go back to campus, to the dorms, and she was on the bus. And Marvin, you know this because you already said it, that people don't speak to each other in the bus, like, at all. But this is my first weeks. Like, I haven't been like brainwashed yet into being like behaving like a Canadian, you know. So I saw her and I was like, hey, Anna, I think was her name or something. Pepita. I'm just kidding. Hey, Pepita. And I, came over to her and just like did a. So I.
You were in the bus with Pepita?
Yeah, I was in the bus with Pepita. I see her. Approach her and greet her with a kiss in the cheek.
My name is Gunther.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
I'm Paul. Nice to meet you. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I, like, as I was, just touching cheeks, whatever, I realized, like, oh, I messed up so bad. Like, this is not a thing here. And wait, she was with her boyfriend, like sitting next to each other. So
then you had to kiss the boyfriend to make it even.
So I didn't know it was the boyfriend until like days later, but I was like, oh, I messed up so bad. And afterwards I did tell her, oh, I'm so sorry, I am just used to greeting people like that in my country. And she told me, oh, no worries, I have been to Peru, I did some volunteer work there, so I'm used to that. So that's totally fine. So, but it was still a very uncomfortable moment. And then I also remember other times when I would come back for the summer to Ecuador, then go back to Canada, I would meet some friend and I would be like, hey dude, what's up? And just like do a handshake, just a handshake. And that was so weird because they only did a handshake the first time they met someone new. After that, you don't handshake people when you greet them for some reason. You're just like, hi, like verbally. You don't.
I see it when we were younger in school. Men used to handshake and men and women used to like give the kisses on the cheeks. But it's true that right now, when I show up to work or when I see my friend, we don't shake hands anymore. We just like, either if you're really close, you give kisses on the cheek, or if you just say hi. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
There's no particular greeting. For families, it's different. You do either shake hands or like give the kisses. But for friends, yeah, they pretty much like don't do anything.
Yeah, I think it's a cultural thing because that guy was Canadian, but then when it was like, oh, I haven't seen you in months, kind of. Am I frozen or no? Oh, okay, cool. That like I did that because like I was so happy to see him and it had been a few months. And then I realized like it's a cultural thing. We do express affection like physically. But then when I met another friend that was from another country that had a similar culture to mine, he or she would also give me a hug, so and be so like lit up and so happy that we saw each other. So yeah, it's definitely like a cultural clash, and it would be cool to another time explore more in depth the anecdotes about studying abroad, Anna. I think that would be like crazy because I have so many crazy stories about my time in Canada. I don't even know how I just survived and graduated, because it was definitely not because I like the country. So yeah.
Okay.
I just would like to know, like for real, if you actually think that people that are obsessed with becoming president of their countries have some sort of personality disorder. Like, if you give me your take, I'll leave in peace.
I do think that they're weird in the head.
I
And
think
why?
I think it's a weird power move. I think it's a power fantasy, and it shows weird fantasies from people.
Because, for example, like, is this gonna be in the episode or no?
This answer, yes. This answer.
Okay. So wait.
Like,
So
at least I would like.
My ex best friend, you know her, Pepita, my ex best friend. She used to have a boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she used to have a boyfriend. That he came from Germany, so another country, and he told her that he wanted to be president of Ecuador to become a dictator and completely like try to make the country better by doing dictator stuff. And I was like, your boyfriend has issues. And she was like, yeah, he's just being funny. And I was, no, he's not being funny. He has big
And how would
issues.
he become president of Ecuador, though?
According to him, it would be so easy because he would bring, innovation that the country doesn't have, and because he would be seen as superior for being German, and that he would be like charismatic or whatever, which he wasn't. He was unbearable.
He was in his head. He was probably like, it's easy to govern jungle people.
Exactly. He probably saw like, oh, they live in a jungle. I'm just gonna go and bring civilization.
He saw Planet of the Apes once, and he was, I can do that.
And I was like, bro, like, what the heck is wrong with this man? So yeah, definitely
Bro.
sick in the head.
Marvin, have you ever met someone like that?
Someone that was obsessed with being president? No, never. But I have someone close to me that I feel like has ambitions to get into politics and potentially get into some sort of presidency. And if this message ever reaches him, I hope you never become president.
I have met like 3 people that were really obsessed with politics and even started like a YouTube channel, like speaking about political issues. And without exception, except I don't know if Pepito actually graduated from university, but the other
From
guys
MIT and Harvard.
from MIT and Harvard, yeah. But the other dudes didn't even graduate from university, although they tried, and also had this some sort of dark motivation to do that. Like you could tell that it was like a power trip, that they wanted to get the respect that they didn't get in some other area of their lives. They wanted that validation. So it wasn't really about the people or the country, it was about themselves. But yeah,
I don't think that
I
you want
guess
to become president if you're healthy in the head, to be honest. I think it has to come from like a dark place.
Yeah, honestly, to me, people who seek power, because I feel like if you live a balanced life, you don't seek for more necessarily, like
you seek for comfort more than power.
Exactly, you seek for comfort. So they say that if I want to get better at a job, it wouldn't be out of I want power, I want to be the CEO, like it would be because I want to earn more money for my family, right? Like it's more of a comfort thing. But those people who specifically want to climb up, yes, the money, but more for the power, to be like, I want to be the leader, I want to be the one that takes charge. Yeah, that's kind of...
It's either a revenge fantasy or it's someone that thinks that they're superior. They have like a superiority complex 100%. So they need to use that on people. Sometimes it can cover insecurities, but other times it's just someone that genuinely thinks that they're better than people. And that's scary. And that's why anyone that tells me that they want to gain power, I'm like, without me, bro. No.
Yeah, like the whole it's
I'm
good
out.
to be in a position of power. I'm like, is it though? Like
it doesn't seem fun.
To me, it's like I cannot imagine myself. One time we were joking with Marvin, like if he was the president of France and I was the first woman, how unserious that shit would be.
Anna, as the first woman, would be like, "Oh, I just spent public money on a concert for Blackpink."
I would bring Blackpink. I would be like, y'all can perform here.
It's like I use tax money to buy myself anime figures.
But
you would be Marie Antoinette.
I would not be Marie Antoinette.
I know.
I would actually care about the people. That's the worst part.
You would give them anime figures.
If you gave me a position of power, I would actually try to make good use of it. Would I seek that power? No. But if you gave me a position of power, I would try to make something better for the poor people, because at this point,
everyone's poor.
And I don't know, like I also feel that you know, you can seek power for the wrong reasons, but then also power can change people, you know, like can corrupt you, or you know, show you your true colors, kind of. And it's so interesting because I feel, well, this is a different topic, but I think it's related in a way. You know, when you grow up, as we were talking about, like Pepito, you know, some things were okay, that's fun, you know, okay, that was uncomfortable, but okay, we're teenagers, whatever. And you let stuff slide. Yeah, you let it slide, whatever, and then you start growing up. And it's been my experience that the older you get, these things that seem like jokes end up becoming keystones or fundamental pieces of people's personalities. And at some point, these friendships, it has happened to me, like I lose friend. I'm not the most social person in the world, to be fair, but with the few friends that I have had, many times it's been like these personality things, some sort of, you know, darkness that is in all of us, but that you let it like control you, on call the shots, and you decide, you know what, I do need that validation. Because you can have that tendency, okay, I want to get validation in the wrong place, and most of us maybe have done that. But at some point, if you justify it and don't seek like an alternative solution, like that's been my experience. It's like you part ways with friends because that becomes their whole personality, and they want to drag you down into this hole of, you know, become the vice president to my presidency, you know. But
like, yeah, you can have as much, like you can have power, but not as much power as me, bro. But like,
yes,
but you'll be with me. It's like, sure,
exactly.
Power
and
fantasy,
I'll rat on you, and so that you go to prison, but you cannot rat on me.
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
of thing. So yeah, it's crazy how these small jokes end up becoming so serious in the long term. And but yeah, I just thought it was a interesting conversation